Laura, I am so excited for you to be here with us. We're going to have a great time adding value to people today.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
I want to take you back, Laura, because you're this top agent. I mean, so many people know who you are, even though you're in this little teeny tiny town, for heaven's sakes. I just am appalled at how many homes, or let's say that differently, how many families you're helping. Because I know with you, it's not about making a sale, it's about helping others. So let's go back to when you started. You were there all by yourself. Were there ever days that you just wanted to throw in the towel?
Yeah, there was a few days that definitely did happen. I started back in 92, so been doing this for like 33 years. And at the beginning, it was a little bit because you're learning so much and taking so much in. So I do remember those days. It was tough.
Yeah. And so anybody that's listening that you're starting out, believe me, we've all been there. And it is success over time, isn't it?
It is. And gritty. I mean, be the first one in, be the last one out.
Yeah, that's such good advice. Yet I know you had some failures along the way. I call them lessons learned. So would you just share one of those with us so we just know that we're not alone, right?
Oh yeah. I would definitely say, right away I knew I had a leverage, and so I did bring in an assistant right off the bat. And I would definitely say like my first assistant was like my learning. There wasn't a lot of education around hiring. We didn't have any type of measurement. We just hired our friends and had them come to work with us and just kind of threw it like, just threw things on their desk and try to make things work. And definitely went through a few assistants just because I didn't have any systems in place. We just winged it, and winging it is not good when you're running a business.
No. And so when did you start putting systems in place, Laura?
I'm gonna say it was probably like I'm a slow learner, so it probably took me like 10 years really to put written systems into place, simple systems. I would say we had checklists and stuff before, but we didn't have a system for where everything lived. And now everything on our team, we're a team of over 30 individuals, and we have systems in place for everything. But at the beginning, it was more like trial and error. The hardest thing was like something would happen, like something in the gray area or something that wouldn't happen all the time, and we'd make a suggestion or how we were going to handle this, and then we would get back on to selling, real estate and helping families, and then the system would come up, or the issue would come up again, and we were like, oh yeah, how did we handle that last time? We just realized that we really had to document everything, so we didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time a little hiccup happened.
That's such good advice. And to have that system that everybody can go back to and say, how did we handle it last time? And then you can improve upon it, right?
Yes.
So, what daily habits do you think contributed to you going from being alone, starting out, to the success that you're at right now?
Well, I definitely would recommend any new agent to get up, get dressed, get into the office early, dress every day like you're going to have an appointment. Like really be prepared for the day. Don't come in with your sweats, don't come in with your hair in a messy bun, like come and get ready to work. And then I would definitely say, I love doing in the mornings, all of the new business generation, um, doing your follow up, contacting your leads, contacting your database, anything you have to do to try to plant the seeds for business. And then in the afternoon is when we use to service our business. So just making certain that you get in the habit of doing that, and that you don't get so caught up in the whirlwind. If you come into the office, you don't know what you're going to do that day, and you don't put lead generation first, then you're going to end up all day servicing your business. And then in 60 days, you're going to have no business.
That's such good advice. So, how do you stay disciplined and motivated enough to get up every morning and lead generate?
Well, I definitely say I still love the business as much today as I did 33 years ago. And part of that has to do is that I kind of leverage off the stuff that I don't enjoy as much. And so I'm able to stay in my happy zone in servicing the families here in our community. That definitely does help with that. And then you just have to be okay with, it's a little bit of consistency and the things that you do every day is not fun and glamorous. And you got to be okay with kind of just doing the boring stuff every day. You got to be okay with looking through your database. You're going to be okay with making your contacts. You have to be okay with setting up events and contacting people to come. Um, that stuff, it can get a little bit routine, but I think a lot of agents sometimes just want to, do the exciting stuff, and that's not always the stuff that's going to pay you. It's the stuff that's going to get you off track.
Well, it sounds to me like you're just talking about the priorities of real estate, right? Real
Yeah,
estate's pretty simple. It's just not easy.
that is
And
correct.
that's the biggest part. So, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received while you're in your real estate career?
Um, I would definitely say on that is just put the clients first. Do what's right. Put the clients first. Make certain their needs are taken care of, and they'll take care of you. So if you just focus on your client and making certain that they are extremely happy, it's going to come back to you tenfold. And I would say, we're a smaller community here, but no matter what community you're in, it's so hard to go out and find a new client. It takes so much effort to find a new one. If you could just take really good care of your existing clients and make certain that they're super happy, they're going to refer you all their nieces, their nephews, their aunts, their uncles, their neighbors, everybody. So you just really got to make certain that those folks are over the top, extremely happy with your services, and which means a lot of communication, a lot of checking in, a lot of getting ahead of things, setting great expectations, and just really wowing them throughout the process. And that will give you a lot of business. It's not going to be tomorrow business. It may be a little bit down the road, but that it's going to keep you full of people that are going to be contacting you and saying, hey, Mrs. Smith referred me to you. And that's not going to happen unless you take really good care of those people.
Well, and you do take good care of your people. It sounds to me like you have systems in place. You talked about how small your community is. So tell us, how small is it?
Well, it has grown. So we're almost to 20,000 people. And
Wow.
yeah, almost 20,000. So we are super excited. We have about 100,000 in our county. So we have some neighboring towns that have populations that we serve. And but our main focus, for me, when I first started out, was that I wanted to dominate the industry in Lebanon, and I really focused on being, I could watch the listings coming in, and I wanted to make certain that, we got our unfair share of those listings, and that we were the number one choice in our community. And then when that ink blot got pretty dark, and then we were able to expand over to the next town over and the next town over, and now we serve, two counties pretty well. We're top in two counties, and then we also service the two counties beyond that. So it's been fun. It's
Yeah. What I just heard you say is rather than to take the shotgun approach, which a lot of agents do, you zeroed in, you had an aim, and you went for the bullseye. We're going to grow here. And
Yep.
then you expanded out into other counties. I mean, after all, 20,000 people in your hometown, for heaven's sakes. Yet I think about the one challenge that Tony, my husband, gave you at a mastermind. It was
hmm
to take 100 listings in, was it 100 days or in 1 month?
No, 1 month,
Yeah.
30, yeah, 100 listings in a month. And we were like, oh my gosh, that could never happen. And so we had limiting beliefs. And he's like, well, what was your best month? And I think at that time it was like 25. He's like, double it. So we did that. We did 25, we did 50. We picked a month, we did 50 that month, and we made it. And by the skin of our teeth, it was a lot of hard work, but it was great. And then the next time, we said, well, let's move it to 75 and see if we could do 75. Well, we didn't. We did like 46. We fell backwards. We realized that we didn't put some of our systems in place. We didn't start early enough. We didn't do some of the things that we needed to do. So we did it again, and we got it to 75. And then we did it again. We got over 100. And then I think our highest was 114 listings in 1 month.
114 listings in 1 month. So the fact that you only had 20,000 people in that first little community, for heaven's sakes, there are no excuses. It is limiting beliefs. Yet when you thought you were going to go to 75 and you did 46, that
Yeah.
setback, how did you handle that setback?
Um, it was disappointing because we're not used to losing. Everyone wants to win and have good success stories. But we were able to reflect back on that and say, okay, what didn't we do this time that we did the time before? And what we really realized on this is that we needed to have a pipeline that showed us our gap.
Mm.
So we knew like how many listings we had taken. That was an easy number to do, but we didn't know how many people were in the pipeline. So it felt like, at the very beginning when we did the 50 listings, we actually publicly told to our clients, we had a weekly email that went out that said, we were challenged to take 50 listings this month. And then the first week was pretty good. It was like, okay, we got 20 listings this week. I'm like, okay, I think we're going to make this. Then the next week we're at 26. And the next week we were like 32. And I was like, oh my gosh, we are a long ways off. And then we were able to push forward and get those other listings through. But it was, when we realized we tried to do 75, the gap just seemed so big that we just gave up. It was like, we're never going to get it. We're never going to get to the end of it. So we realized that what we needed to do is say, okay, we took 20 listings. We have, 20 more people that are saying, yes, they'll list before the end of the month. And so really our gap is only this amount, 35. Like we could kind of track it along there. It wasn't like too much, too big. If it's too big, people are like, yeah, we're folding the towel. We're doing this. And it wasn't just all me. It was the team. So I don't want to take the credit for this. It was everybody. But we realized that the pipeline report was super important for us to have that. And then to publicly tell our clients that we're doing something like we're having a listing challenge was definitely something that helped us because they were trying to help us find listings, which was which was great. Our one of our investors at the very end, because we were like at, I don't know, like 46 or something like that. He goes, "How many are you short?" And we're like, 4. And he's like, "I got 4. I got you. Like, come list. I have 4 investment properties you can have listed." And I was like,
Oh,
"Perfect. That sounds great." So it worked out well. He saved our bacon at the very end of that. But when we went back and did it for the 114 listings, we definitely just said also, we don't want to wait to the last day to realize that we are going to be short. So let's put it up the Friday before the last week. And let's say if we don't get it done by this date, that we're like, at this point, I wasn't going to go to a 50th birthday party for one of my friends. I was going to stay behind because it was going to be a offsite, retreat. I was going to stay behind and grind and help get the listings in. And the team wanted me to go so bad to that 50th birthday party for one of my high school friends. They were like, "No, you're going to make it." And so we had listings out to be signed. And that Friday, by like 6 o'clock, they came in. I got in the car, I left. And then by the time I got back and the following week, we had 114 listings because 14 more people signed.
oh my word. Now, see, things like that are so exciting. And yet people, they get caught in that gap trap is what you got caught in at the
Yep.
46. And sometimes we forget how much more is out there. And like you said, you weren't counting the people that were in the pipeline. And
Yes.
so that gap, it was a chasm that you couldn't see the bridge being built in your own mind. How important is it to keep that vision alive in your mind while you're working on that?
Yeah, very. I would definitely say put something up visual. We put our goal up on the wall, and let's say we do little envelopes on little strings, envelopes, and the envelopes there's gift cards and candy and some different things in it. So so we have our goal up on the wall, and then every time we get a listing signed, then we go up on the wall and we grab the agent can grab an envelope and rejoice, and we take a photo and we put it on Slack, and we make a big to do out of it. But then we also can see how many envelopes are left. So it does give us a visual in the office of where we're at when we're doing our challenge in that. And then we're also looking at the pipeline. It definitely is a time. What my advice would be is, whatever you did last year, whatever your best month was, maybe pick that month and then double it for this year. And then just put out the challenge to your whole team, to yourself, to your database, to everyone that you know that you're going to double that number and do that, and then learn from that. You're going to break systems. Like definitely, there was some crying. There was some signs that got missed, that got put up. It really shows you your weak links in your systems. And it shows agents that they can go out and do a one-stop listing. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that's learned through that system. Like you don't think it can be done, and all of a sudden at the end we got it done. in our area, we can take pre-listings too. So that does help us with that because we can go ahead and get things pre-listed, and then they don't have to go on the market for, a week or 2 or 3, or when they're ready to get on there. So that really helps us too.
Well, and you found some strategies that really worked. Like you said, going from a 2 listing presentation to
Yep.
a one. I've often wondered, and the reason is because when I was selling real estate, I remember I was out knocking doors, which I did a lot, and there was a car that had signs on the side of the car
Yep.
advertising the real estate, right? And it was parked at this house for quite a while as I went down the block and coming back. And so when the car left, I went up to the door. I thought maybe I have a buyer for it. Who knows? Maybe they didn't list, right? So I go up to the door and they told me that this person had gone away. And I said, well, did they list your home? And they said, no. And I said, well, I know this area very well. Do you mind if I look through your home and talk to you for a moment? Well, I always had contracts in my car, just like you, Laura. You
Yep.
never know when it's going to come about, right? So literally, I listed the house while they went back to the office to figure things out. And I
Yep.
went, that taught me right there, even though back in those days, everybody was doing a 2-step. I thought, why? My dad said, that makes no sense at all. Why would you go back twice when you're there once? Just get it done. He said, they've got your money in their pocket. Don't leave without your money.
I love that. I love
Now,
that.
it was always about serving the client. So don't get my dad wrong. It wasn't about the money yet. It was a good visual for me. And so what lead generation strategies, though, did you use to get 114 listings?
Yeah, we used everything, like anything from like search your phone and your text for CMA, and pull up
Oh,
every text that you've received that says CMA on it, because there are some leads that fall through the cracks. There's some CMAs you've done. So we definitely did that. We searched through that. We went through all of our old CMAs that we had completed over the last 2, 3, 4 years. If they hadn't listed, we reached back out to them and seen where they're at in the process, asked lots of questions, figured out what their motivation was, see if there was any possibility of listing. We did do an incentive for that month, or the month that we do a listing challenge, it was spring. So we offered a gift certificate for either like spring cleanup or bark dust. So definitely check with your area and see if that's legal, but it is here if they can do it, that we can offer an incentive to list. So it helped us like break the gap a little bit. Like it's springtime, we can get you pre-listed and get you some free bark dust or something to that nature, or window washing, or they could pick with carpet cleaning from there. So we got that part of it going on that. And then from there, we put out to, any of the leads that we had in our database that we hadn't done a CMA for, people that had got into our system that had requested a CMA or said that they were looking to purchase but had to sell a home. We definitely went over all those folks to see if there was anybody in that group that we could start the process. Can we come out and give you a market analysis? Can we get the process rolling on getting your home on the market for sale? And we just all dug it, that old poem, the one about the hen that digs for the worms, and the rooster that goes to bed hungry. I don't know. That's a great old poem, but that one we use that kind of as our motto when we're doing this, is like, we need to find a new place to dig. Like the listings are out there. They're coming through every day. We just have to get in front of it. We just have to dig in different locations to get these listings to come into us. And we just, all of us at that time, the thing that you realize when you're doing a listing challenge, and I don't know why we don't do these every month, because it's the thing you should be doing. But what happens is that when it's top of mind, like I remember one time a gentleman walked in to fix our heating system. And the person at the front desk mentioned to him, like, hey, you have any real estate needs? She normally doesn't do that. He gets back in the back. Everyone's trying to get their listing. So somebody walks up to him and says, hey, any thoughts of, selling your home, or, having any real estate needs? And he's like, well, I am thinking about selling my home. And they were able to get that listing. And I thought to myself, that would have never happened if we didn't have the real estate challenge. They would have let him walk in, fix the furnace, and walk out without asking. But when it's top of mind and you're really trying to grasp to meet your goals, you'll ask anybody and everybody if they have real estate needs. And then you fall off the wagon when it's not during one of those challenges, which you should just be doing that all the time. And it's good that you can do it and get rewarded for it. And then you're like, okay, I know this stuff works and I just need to do it more often.
Well, when you say we just aren't thinking, there's possibilities and opportunities out there everywhere, and you're fabulous at looking for those opportunities. And when you said the person coming back to even fix the TV, think about after we list a home, or when we sell a home, and you put on the furnace, a little sticker
Yeah.
that says, if you need help with this, I have handyman, and it says you're in real estate. I mean, all these little things about how can we market more? What can we do? And you said that you tracked the listings that you took.
Yes.
Do you track the lead generation that you do to see what's actually working best? And if so, how do you do that?
Yeah, so we use a system called Sisu, and we track everything through that so we can know with each individual agent how many contacts they're making, how many appointments they've set, so you can look at their conversion rates. Some people have higher conversion rates than other agents. We have people share their results and what they're doing, so we're all able to work together on figuring out what's working. What I realized that the agents that have a higher conversion rate are normally just talking to their database and to the people that are calling into them. They're inbound leads or warm leads. The folks that are working more of a colder lead or, for sale by owners and expireds, it's taking them about 10 calls to get an appointment. So it's still a great to have an appointment, to have somebody raising their hand and to be able to go get the business. It's wonderful. It's just your conversion numbers are not going to be as high, but I would just say, keep calling, keep turning the soil, keep getting ready to plant, keep getting ready to, nurture those leads, and that way you can keep the harvest going. But it's just important that you do make those calls, and it's like, you can't be a secret agent. I know they say that out there. Like, you've got to go out there and put your name out there. It is a contact sport. You've got to go out and make those connections. So when they do think of real estate down the road, they're going to call you, or you're going to catch them in a spot where they're ready to say, yes, I think I'm ready to have you come out where, happened you called today. We were just talking about maybe looking at property.
Yeah. Well, you've got to get out of the people pile, right? There's so many realtors out there, and we do. I've got a saying that your business grows to the extent that you do.
Yep.
And so, what do you do to have your personal development? What are some of the things that you highly recommend that agents out there listening to this do every single year for their personal development?
Well, I definitely say take as many classes and as much education as possible. Like, I definitely say 4 times a year you should go do something. And I definitely say get out of your comfort zone, go take different educations, read lots of books, listen to podcasts, just really it's your skills. What you're working on every day is your skills, and you just need to be able to skill up and level up at all times. There's so many good things out there to help us, and I don't know if you want me specifically to name things.
No. Whatever you feel comfortable with. The biggest thing, though, that I would love to know is, it sounds to me like you have a strategy, a personal growth plan, that 4 times a year you're going to go out there. And I bet you're very careful as to who you actually do listen to, right?
I do. I am really careful on it, and I want to make certain that they're in the trenches, and that they are that we know that this stuff is working, and that I can take things home and implement it, have systems and take them home and implement it, and get right into action. And it's super important to do that. And no matter how much education you take, if you don't implement it, it's a waste. So you definitely have to come back and maybe pick 1 or 2 things you're going to implement, or maybe one thing a quarter, like just put things into place, but you definitely have to put it into action.
Absolutely. And I have a saying that we're addicted to information and allergic to implementation, right? Because that's the way it seems like it is. And yet we can learn from people that have been there and done that. I mean, like Tony, he was in the top 10 internationally with Remax year after year after year. Yes, a lot of the things that were being done in the 70s are now being done. I remember one time, Laura, somebody said, oh, I'm going to start doing movie theaters. I've got this great idea. It's going to be so much fun. And this was quite a few years ago. And I went, I'm not going to say anything yet. We were doing that in 1979, renting out movie theaters and having events. Now, I know that you do events a lot. What's your greatest and most exciting event that you do?
Oh, we love we have event called Pork and Tunes. It's a barbecue, a band, a car show. It's ice cream. There's all kinds of stuff that happens at a kid area. We have it at our house. We have about 600 of our top clients come and spend the evening with us. The team all works it. We serve the food. We provide the food. We have a car show. I think I said that. It's just a really great night to connect with our community and with our clients, and they so enjoy it, and we so enjoy it, and it just keeps getting bigger every year. And it's not elaborate. It's shoestring budget. We don't spend a lot of money on it, but it is a fun evening, and they really enjoy it. And I would say the one thing that I've learned over the years with the events is that we do have systems around that now. We have systems to collect data. We have systems to ask them if they have real estate needs. We have a Google sheet. We have an RSVP, like our Pi days. Everything is done systematically, that we're collecting data and asking them if they have real estate needs. So that way we can go back and we don't have to ask at the event. We can have fun at the event, but we can before the event or during the event or after the event, we can follow up with their real estate needs.
No, that's fabulous. So how much in advance do you plan this? Like
Oh,
when do you send out an invitation?
yeah. So save the date's already gone out. So it's August of 23rd of 2025. So we already know like when Pork and Tuesday is going to be. We normally announce the date at the previous so last year we had it in July, and we announced had to save the date for the next year because people's summers get filled up quickly. We want to make certain we get
Mhm.
on their calendar, so we just tell them right then when the save the date is. So consistency, having something year after year. I think we had to miss a year during COVID, or maybe 2 years during COVID. During that, we did something different. We shifted and did an outside drive-in movie theater that year, so we pivoted. But it was it's good to have that consistency, so that way they look forward to every year, and that way it's nice that they can do it, and our new clients look forward to it too, because they've heard about it in the community that we put on this nice event for them.
Laura, what you've helped us with today is just hearing the possibilities, not allowing your brain to go into that comfortable zone. And you're literally breaking out of that comfort zone over and over and over again. And you're looking at possibilities, opportunities. You're helping your team look at opportunities and possibilities. And when things aren't going your way, well, you've trained us that we too need to look at a different way, a different approach, and systematize everything. Ask great questions, keep data, make certain that you're doing research on your people, have adventures each and every day in the real estate industry. So I've got to ask you, will you come back again, because our time is up
Ah,
today? And I would love to ask you more questions, and I know the people out there would love to hear more from you. So will you come back?
yes, I'd be honored to. Thank you.
Okay, and I know that you do a lot of fishing. So
I do. I love fishing, and you guys need to come out, you and Tony, anytime. We will take you fishing.
we'd love to do that. And the greatest part is you're fishing every day. And we want people to do that. Listen to the podcast. And if you like it, subscribe on the button below. Send it out to other realtors. Laura, thank you so much for being part of Becoming More, where you have helped so many people today and you've added value to their life. So thank you. You've added value to mine. I know that.
Thank you.